Hey y'all, it's Faces 777, also known as the Masquerade Angel. Today I'm going to be giving y'all a breakdown of one of the most popular tracks I've produced, JetSetGo by Jupiluxe. This track blends elements of drum and bass, jungle, and funk into a style commonly referred to as JunglePhonk. Now then, let's get into it. Starting off, one of the most important features in most of my JunglePhonk tracks has got to be the pad. While some peeps use cowbells like in drift funk, I prefer to keep my style somewhat true to the old school sound of the 90s. For this track, I decided against making my own pad sound and instead found a sample commonly used in many old school tracks. It's taken from the Jungle kit by Blue Martin. I'll post a link to that in the description for y'all. Now then, without any further ado, let's get into this. Starting off, this is going to be the original pad sound. Really detailed sonically and a lot of different layers to it, which is perfect for that old school sound. This right here is going to be how I flipped it. Now, as you can see, it's kept pretty much the same, just pitched down. As far as processing, I'm basically just rounding off the low end, making room for that bass, and also giving it some side chain just to make sure that kick really shines through. Moving on to the drums, I kept them simple to start with, just a kick, snare, and shaker playing a basic two-step pattern. From there, I ended up adding a drum fill and chopping it up just to add some much-needed groove to the pattern. And lastly, I ended up adding a jazzy hi-hat loop just to fill in some extra space. After finishing the drums, I felt like there was something missing, so I added some effects from the Mega Man X video game and also a riser. The bass line on this track is perhaps its strangest feature. While it follows the same basic pattern as the pad, it's actually a pad itself, playing a chord. As far as effects, I ended up boosting the low end while cutting off almost the entirety of the high end. There's also some sidechain compression added. As you can hear, the bass line almost ends up sounding like a sub bass with some additional harmonics added, taken from the notes of the chord that are basically cut off. Next up, we have two melodic elements. The first is from a synthesized flute with some echo and reverb added to it. The sample has an ambient feel that really adds to the futuristic vibe of the track. And the second is a piercing synth sound kept fairly simple with some echo and reverb that mixes really nicely with the other sample. Last but certainly not least, we have our vocal samples. The first is from Gucci Mane and the second is from DJ Screw and the Screwed Up Click.
Dog weed, super dog weed, Kelly OG, dog lane, super dog lane, straight code D.
That boy poop off them fucking Drake.
Now, as you can probably hear, there's a lot of background elements that would clash with our drum and bass patterns. Thus, my implementation of a bit crusher to degrade the sound and an EQ to cut off some of that crunchy white noise left behind when we reduce the audio quality.
Dog weed, super dog weed, Kelly OG, dog lane, super dog lane, straight code D.
That boy poop off them fucking Drake.
As you can see, we cut off a lot of those bass frequencies, and when mixed with the rest of it, as you'll see in just a moment, it works amazingly well. With that, I'll wrap up the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Just let me know if y'all want to see something like this again. Peace out.